All right, so we kind of came up with an algorithm yesterday for subtraction, right? And addition from the previous day. So the previous two lessons in 2-1, we came up with our strategy for addition. Yesterday in subtraction, we came up with a strategy for that. So now we're going to kind of compare. So it says here, the chipboard in the picture on the right, which really can't really see it very well. Well, you can on your picture a little bit. Shows a value of +5. So if you look at A number 1 on your thing, what would fit into the blank there for 5? So if you have 5 black chips and you're subtracting a certain number, you have 2 black chips left. What number needs to go in this spot, Aiden? Yeah, you're +3, right? So if we were to draw that, here are 5 black chips, right? And if I take away 3, okay, I'll box in these 3 and move them away, I'm left with 2 black chips, right? So what about the second one? If I have +5 and I add something to it to get the answer of 2, so kind of the same answer, right? I start with 5 black chips, I end with 2 black chips, but what has to happen now here in the middle? But now I'm not subtracting anymore. I'm adding something to it. What am I adding? Gracie? Right, we're adding -3, right? We have to add 3 red chips to it, right? So if I got my 5 black chips, right? And I go ahead and add 3 red chips, right? Remember, when I have a black and a red chip, what is my value? 0. So if I go ahead and start crossing out black and red pairs, there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. What am I left with? 2 black chips, okay? All right, so we're going to give you your first task. For B number 1, I only want you to do B number 1, not number 2. See if you can complete that number sentence, okay? For A, B, C, and D, all right? Read it very carefully, okay? And then we'll come together in just a few minutes and see how you did. So I'm going to pause the video. All right, so for A, what'd you come up with? What number should fit into that spot? 4, good. Because if you look at it, if you add the left side together, right? 5 plus a -4 is what? 1. What's 5 minus 4? 1. So again, the left side equals the right side. What about for B? 5 plus a +4. Now they want it to be 5 minus, Gracie? -4. Okay. What about for C? What'd you get for C, Eliana? 2. Hopefully you're starting to see a pattern now. And what about for D? Robert? -2. So again, in terms of the patterns, to help you restate any addition problem as an equivalent of subtraction. So, to change an addition, problem to subtraction, you subtract the opposite. Now that was kind of the opposite of what we did yesterday, right? Right? Didn't we do the opposite yesterday when addition? We changed it to addition, right? You added the opposite, right? When we had a double negative. Remember that little rule we came up with yesterday? Those rules? So now I want you to try to figure out C1. So if you notice, we're starting with a subtraction problem, and you got to fill in the blank for the addition problem. So basically, they just kind of switched it on you. All right? So see how that compares to what we did up above. All right? So I'm going to give you guys a few more minutes to work on A, B, C, and D in C1. Okay? And then we'll see how that compares to what we did up above. So now you're going, instead of going now from addition to subtraction, you're going from subtraction to addition. All right, so we're going to pause again. All right, so what we come up with for A? What's supposed to go in the blank, Elena? -5, good. What about for B? What's supposed to fit in the blank? Sal? 5. What about for C? What about for C? Maria? Okay. And D. D. Ashley. 6. So what pattern did you notice here? That was different from above. If we're changing a subtraction problem to addition, what do we got to do? What did we do? Yeah, we added the opposite. So, to change a subtraction problem to addition, you add the opposite. See how that changes from up above from what we wrote in B2? It just flip-flops, right? Right? These two here are just opposites. All right, let's talk about the summary because that's on the actual back page, actually. And then I got a couple practice problems for you to do. So it says, it asks in the front, what do you know about the relationship between addition and subtraction of integers? You can change a subtraction expression to addition by adding the opposite, right? And vice versa. You could also change in addition problem, like we just figured out, right, to subtraction by, this would be subtracting the opposite, right? Right? So again, it kind of works both ways. Now, there's a little bit in this blue here. It says you really need to know an algorithm for addition. Every subtraction problem can be changed to addition. Therefore, instead of trying to subtract, just add the opposite. Okay? So let me give you a couple little challenges there. You can kind of write these in the spaces below. So here's what I want you to do. All right? You're going to write an equivalent addition expression for the subtraction I'm going to give you, and then you're going to solve it, which means you're going to give me an answer. All right? I'm going to give you 3 questions. Ready? Here's the first one. Okay, I'm going to pause this and give you guys a few minutes to work on this. Solve those 3 expressions. All right, so let's talk about this. So let me scroll down a little bit, give us some room. All right. So again, to change subtraction to addition, what do we have to do? What opposite? Add the opposite, right? So if I rewrite this, it should be -17. We change it to addition. You add the opposite. So what's the opposite of -3? 3. So what's -17 plus 3? Blake. -14. That's correct. So there's our equivalent expression. There's our answer. Okay. Let's go to number 2. Okay, you have a subtraction problem. We have to add the opposite. So what was your expression here? This should be 16 plus, and then what? The opposite. Negative 24. So when you add a negative 24 to 16, what's your answer? Negative 8. Because remember, what's the bigger absolute value? 24 is, right, than 16. So that your answer is negative, right? Don't forget about all those rules we've talked about in 2.2 and not in 2.3, right? So again, number 3. Okay, we are subtracting, so we add the opposite. What's the opposite of negative 4? 4. So negative 15 plus 4, Sal?
Negative 11.
Good, negative 11. Excellent. All right, so you do have a homework assignment, and you got quite a bit of class time to work on it. It is, let me get there. There you go. 15 and 16 and 18 to 30.